Okay, have 6 o'clock. We'll call this meeting of Budget and Finance to order. Everybody should have a copy of the January minutes. Please look over those, and if there are no additions or corrections, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion, please, I'll vote on, I didn't say anything.
All right, I have a motion to approve from Ford. Is there a second? Okay, second from Dennis. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, go into the financial statements. Be page 5 of your packet. So we will have the trustee balances on here. Amy, do we, of course, I know we voted last month to look at moving some of the fund from the 171 onto a CD. Do we know, has anything been done in that regard?
About it. Wait later, what would you like?
I guess we can just go ahead and if that's all right.
Okay, so Miss Cindy needs direction from this committee. She has the rates from the banks on CDs. We have 6 months at 4%, 12 months at 3.95, and 24 months at 3.75%. So basically, we need to know how long you want to invest in a CD. Do you want all $2 million into one CD, or do you want to split it for cash flow? So you would put, say, half or 1.5 million in a longer investment, and then the remaining balance into a 6 month. What would you like to do? Not all at once. 6 months at 4%, 12 months, 3.95, 24 months, 3.75.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir, Mr. Dennis.
it's $2 million. Is that the amount that we're looking at?
That was the amount that was voted on by this committee last month. Yes. It was taking 2 million from the 171 capital projects fund.
Might suggest that you ladder it, what's called laddering. Put a certain percentage of the 2 million on 6 months, a certain percentage on the 12, and a certain percentage on the 24. That way your money is renewing at the best possible rate every time it comes open to renew. Also, something that might be noted, Fed is starting to look at probably another 1/4 to 1/2% reduction in the Fed funds rate over the course of this year. So that 24 month looks pretty good. That being considered.
Mr. Ford?
I've talked to all 3 banks in the last week. Every one of them are expecting interest rate to go down for what it's worth. Every one of them. That's why you can't get a very long tied up for very long. But they are definitely expecting it to go down. Whether it will or not, who knows?
Okay. Be thinking about what y'all want to do with these rates, and if it's okay, we'll come back to this discussion later on in the meeting. I'm sorry, Mr. Gold.
In time thoughts, Ms. Amy, you may know this and may not. I'm thinking we did this 2 years ago now, but there's a lot been in my mind in the last 2 years. We consolidated those loans and put them into one lump sum, I believe 2 years ago, which this would be the 3rd year payment on that. And we had a no call, I believe, for 5 years. So if we would be at 2 years, we'd be really close to being able to just take that money and pay down towards that if that's what people are wanting to look at or whatever. But that would put us closer to that time period. And it's close, 3.75. I think those were 4.10 or four, I believe is about what those were. So they were close to being equal money, which was our original goal with these CDs from the beginning, is that we were covering the interest and just paying back the original money. So to me, sounds like we're the route we need to look. I don't disagree. There might be some monies that are needed if we need to put it in a shorter term, but that we've kind of set the 171 up in a good place where it is building funds. So that fund itself should continue to build along at a decent rate itself. My thoughts on this one would be to look at that long term.
Okay, like I said, we'll come back to this discussion later in the meeting if that's okay to make a decision on this. Just wanted to go ahead and bring that up. So looking at the CDs that we have on here, I said, please look over the trustees fund balance, or excuse me, cash balances. Does anyone have any questions on any of those? All right, have a motion by Ford to approve the trustee balances. Is there a second? Second by Jeff Gregory. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? All right. All right, moving on to page 6, the year-to-year comparison. You'll see as the end of January, property tax had come in 83.1% in the 101, 77.8% in the 111, 111 almost exactly where it was this time last year, 101 a little bit ahead of last year. Revenues 51.7% for the year, as down a little bit from where we were a year ago, 52.2 in the 101. Expenses in the 101 at 47%, as compared to 41% January of last year. $111 revenues look a little bit ahead of last year and expenses down a little bit. Anybody have any questions on the year to year? Seeing none, moving to page 7, 101 financial statement. And this is through 7 months of the year, 58.3% of the fiscal year. So basically anything anything with revenues above that is going to be good. Anything below that, let's say property tax at 83.1, so solid shape there. It's the sales tax, which is 2 months behind, but we're still at 57.7%. So that would seem to be solid shape there as well. And going to page 9, let's see, the total revenues so far for the year, 51.7%, but revenues without the grant line items at 66.29%. So ahead of where you would want to be at this point in the year there. Any questions or comments in the 101? Ms. Gully?
Just one, Miss Amy's local option sales tax still running 2 months behind?
Yeah, so to be at 57.7% already and 2 months behind is at 58% of the year, sounds like we're in pretty good shape there. No question there. Any other questions or comments in the 101? All right, looking at 101 expenditures, page 9 and page 10. Expenditures at 47.0%. Take out the grant line items and that number is at 51.3%, still below the 58.3 where we are. So pretty good shape there. Yes, Mr. Ford.
58,900 miscellaneous.
Yeah, it looks like that's the various nonprofit allocations that we make, which
I see what it is now. That's what it is.
yeah, I know. Of course, we had an allocation in there for the help center, which I'm on that board, and I know we got that in August. I assume those were all probably paid about the same time. Okay. Any other questions in the 101 expenditures? Going to page 11, Sheriff Department summary, courtroom security. Looks like well under budget so far there. Really looks like all the departments within the sheriff's budget are under expenditures so far. One thing I will ask, Sheriff, the overtime pay in the 54-110 Sheriff's Department and the jail, both are running about 65 to 68% so far. Is that just?
I think one of the main reasons for that, when we work a holiday,
Mhm.
the overtime that we're getting on that money is what's eating it up.
Okay, are you thinking you'll be okay for the remainder of the fiscal year, or is it kind of taking it?
Well, when I done the budget, I put in what I thought I was spending overtime, not counting the holiday pay overtime added into it.
Okay. Those were the only two that really jumped out to me. Anyone else have any questions in the sheriff's summaries? Mr. Gully?
Not the sheriff's, but backing up to 56,300 senior citizens assistance. Is that a salary? Or what's going on there? What am I missing there? Oh, that it's running a little, in my opinion, we're usually pretty good on our expected expenditures, and that one's running about 60%, which is close. But what is that?
More than likely, she did have a big expense. I think we paid it out last month where she has new awning, and that did come out of
So
her.
there was a large purchase. Okay,
Correct.
that was what had me.
And I believe she also has new doors installed.
So she's had some on the senior citizen center, some
Correct.
updates.
Yes.
Gotcha. That's why.
Okay. Any other questions in 101 or on the sheriff's summary?
Do you think the overtime budget is taking the pay on the holiday?
I do.
It'd be a pretty good chunk though, wouldn't it?
It's normally, bigger over the Christmas and New Year's holiday, because that's right there.
We had just had President's Day, so it'll be up next month.
Okay, like I said, the reason those two stood out to me, the sheriff department overtime was at 68.6% so far through January, and jail was at 65.3 on the overtime. Okay. Mr. Gold?
Every employee gets 13 holidays paid overtime. Is that correct? The sheriff's department? That's the sheriff's department, 13 paid holidays. They know they're gonna get those at the 12-hour rate. And they get it on a 12-hour, not an 8-hour. That's what we're discussing here.
Okay.
Reason I mention that is it's been a conversation topic before today.
It has. All right, seeing no other questions on sheriff, so move to page 12, 111, urban services. Total revenue, 22.7%, but if you take out the grant line items, that number is 61.0%. Which the 2 million Ward School grant and little over $600,000 multimodal grant. That's the sidewalk project. Is that correct? Okay. And expenditures in 111, 17.5%. If you take out the grant line items, that number is 46.3%. So again, still ahead on the revenues and lower on the expenditures, which is always a good thing. Any questions or observations in the 111? Mr. Ford?
On 58 to 400, what is the other charges? It's 66.4%. What's in that?
That includes your electricity for parking lots, for the street lights. It also includes your insurance premiums for this fund. A lot of one-time expenses as far as the premiums, but your electricity is every month.
Any other questions in the 111?
I just say the overtime on the next page here on theirs is 74.7 in the urban services.
Yeah, the sheriff department overtime line in that, like Bubba said, 74.7, excuse me, 74.7, kind of higher than we would probably like to be, but like I said, with the various holiday, is that more holidays or is that, you think, more just short staff, a little bit of both?
Two in school right now, one's got to go. We're still working over government spots.
Okay.
And we have court, we do a lot of transports and got to call in extra people. Had court today, had to call in extra people to work yet. We would have had 60 something prisoners from the prison today, but we had about 45. Some of them they didn't bring.
That's
And died at 20 something more today. Yeah, we play at 8. Every time we have court, we'll play about 5 to 10 and we'll indict 20 or 30 more. So our number keeps getting bigger and bigger. We're playing cases right now 2 or 3 years old.
Wow. Mr. Ford,
I had a question for the sheriff. How far along are we on all these cases we got out of prison now?
We probably got 200 cases out there.
What about the ones that committed murder?
We pled 3 today. 3 locked up in Nashville. If you're holding for them, because I don't want to keep them down here.
Hmm.
And every time we have 4, they have to send a car for each one of them down there, put one in each car, 2 officers to a car.
So it's 3 all you like, yeah?
No, that's just what's mine. See, when they're locked up for something in prison, when they parole out, they got the indictment on them for the murder charge, then that becomes Travis County's problem. Then that's when I have to, we've had to go to Mountain City twice in the past month, pick one up, bring it back, take it back to court. And, it's every week going to Jackson, Tennessee. I am Zooming some of them, the ones that will save, time and, money. But not all of them do that. We're going, so we had to pick up 4 or 5 today. At least we didn't have to go too far. We got a trial, was supposed to be in this coming next week. One of the witnesses in West Tennessee. One's in Middle. The guy that's going up for trial is in, Middle Tennessee, and one's in West Tennessee. So that's 4 of them. I might go get them. I got it worked out with other jails to hold them for me while the trial's going on. I have to go to Lafayette, Wilson County, Sumner County, and Smith County, and bring them every day. Go get them every day, bring them to court, and then carry them back. Then when trial's over with, I have to carry them back where I got them at. It's just stuff like that.
Are they paying anything on all this?
No.
Other than 300,000 we
No.
get from them?
Mm-mm.
well, we
It's a
have,
drain on us, and this 20 something that just got indicted, they're gonna bring those in, we'll have to book all them in. And sometimes they won't bring them till we get ready to start court, and it holds us up.
well, we have that advisory committee that the full commission put together that hopefully will be addressing that in the future, but that's really not something we can do anything about here.
I can answer that question. The advisory committee will have, I anticipate after a phone conversation this morning, have their report to this body for March's meeting. And there have been ongoing discussions already and have been for the last year now, in anticipation of contract renewals and whatnot through my office. So right now we're a lot of discussion. Of course, you got to bear in mind that a lot of what happens here is directly impacted by what happens at the General Assembly. It's budget time. So they've got to calculate whatever budget they're going to have for core civic. And so all those impact us as well. There have been a lot of meetings, subcommittee meetings, committee meetings that have had a variety of individuals in. I'm sure Mr. Leeper's been involved in it. I know that General Lawson has also been involved in that. And those discussions have centered around corrective measures that apply to what core civic can do differently. But by and large, the issue has been with the Department of Corrections and about their willingness to make some changes in order to accommodate some of the requests. So I haven't followed up on that the last 2 weeks, but I did get a report that there have been some movement in that area.
As to what all that has cost us, they should be paying some of that.
Well, Mr. Ford, this committee isn't really the place that we need to be going into that. Like I said, whatever contract comes up will be before the full commission as opposed to just this body. Really, the only thing we see from in terms of this committee is the impact on the overtime pay. I don't know that we necessarily need to get into that here at this meeting. It'll be addressed by the full court down the road.
having to work all this.
And just one last in segue into what the sheriff's saying, he's right. There's a lot more. It's very comprehensive about the expenses. Are you ever going to be able to come up with an exact figure? The answer is no. But do we know it impacts us? The answer is yes. And those things are being taken into consideration.
Thank you.
That's my question, you have an idea what kind of figure you're gonna put on that? You're not telling me what it is, I'm just asking, do you?
Well, again, this isn't the place to have that conversation. That'd be before the full court in the future. Are there any other questions or comments in the 111 or the sheriff's 111 summary? All right, seeing none, go to page 14, 116 solid waste. Total revenues there, 70.4%, 83.2 on property tax. Expenditures at 41.1%, so well under projections there, seem to be in pretty good shape. Are there any questions in the 116? All right, page 15, 118 ambulance service. Total revenue, 64.9%, 83.1 on property tax. Expenditures, 53.8%. And pages 16 and 17, you'll see the line by line breakdown on the ambulance service budget. Please review those, and if anyone has any questions or comments there.
Just a
Next up.
comment, not a question, but I know Mr. Beatty's not here, but looking at the PRN or part-time personnel work, that seems to be running really low in this piece. I know we've had that conversation in the past. Overtime is, I guess we could say, manageable. It looks decent right now, but if you remember over the last 3 years, we've added a lot of money to that overtime. So that's maybe why it looks as it looks. That PRN, part-time personnel, for some reason is not being utilized. I don't know the answer to that piece, but at 6.2%, unless if I'm reading that wrong, that is a helpful way to help our county on overtime. And I would hope as we go forward, that would be seen in that manner.
Might be something to ask Mr. Beatty about at the next first responders meeting, is how that's being utilized. Well, yeah, of course, I'm on first response, and I think one or two others in here are. So I will make a note to ask Mr. Beatty about that. I think that committee is scheduled to meet next Monday before county court. So I will make a note to be sure to ask him about that. Does anyone else have any questions or comments in the 118? All right, seeing none, page 18, so 121, the core civic pass-through. As we all know, that this is the money we get from the state. We get it, it sits for a little bit, and we pass it straight through to core civic. We don't do anything with the funds. Mr. Gully.
Keeping in mind with the budget season coming up, you're correct. We don't do anything with those funds, but they do show up if you go and look at revenues for Trousdale County. Because there's quite a few of our public that are misled by that number, that we have over, 80 or 7.5 million, or 70 plus million right here coming in. That really is the major skewing number in our, what it looks like online. It's important that we share that with our public as often as you can. What's out there, is it a revenue that comes into Trowser County's funds? Does Trowser County have any say or use of them? No, as we see that part. So it really skews the look, and our public needs to hear that understanding. I
Yeah,
know we're not live, but it needs to hear those pieces.
absolutely. And I believe that point has been made just about every time a budget meets, that, hey, this money shows on our books, but we don't have any real say over it. Well, yes,
That term, we don't have to say.
you would be correct. All right, page 19, 122 County Drug Fund. Expenditures, 257.8%. It looks like they confiscated a few things over the course of this year. Okay. Okay. Expenditures only at 1.2%. So good shape there. Pages 20 and 21 are 127 and 128. The remaining ARPA funding. Little bit of investment income, although the 128 is running a little below where we had projected on the investment income at 40.9%. Expenditures 52.6 on 127 and 32.8 on 128. The main expenditures, like in the 128, have been the land purchase, a little bit of money in there for parks and playground. Amy, 56,700. What's remaining to be paid out in that?
There is the remaining payment for the master park plan, and then you also set aside the rest of that amount to do the walking trail at the park,
Okay.
which should be right around $100,000.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions or comments in 127 or 128? Moving to page 22, 151 debt service. Total revenues 59.1%. Expenditures 38.2%. And property tax at 83.1 there. Looks like a 49,800 transferring from 101. Interest is only at 50%. Is that just on a certain timeline, or what happens with that?
That is when I forget to bill 101 for the amount, so it's going to be double billed this month.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Any questions or comments in 151?
Ms. Amy, this may be a good place to look at that conversation here. On those items we rolled into that one consolidated loan, if I remember correctly, there was a school. Can you rerun us of what's in that loan? You may be able to see it right now. That's been a little time past.
We combined the EESI and the CJC. So those are labeled individually and they're still pulled out of different functions, but those are the two loans that were consolidated.
ESI and CJC.
Yes.
That loan was 1.8, 1.9.
1.9.
Just putting it in my head there of thoughts. Something to talk about in that next conversation. We're moving towards that CD. On 4.12, I was off a little bit, it looks like. That's what that one's showing now.
Any other questions or comments on 151? All right, moving to page 23, 171 capital projects. Again, sitting roughly 2.266 million sitting in that fund. Of course, we have not moved the 2 million yet. We'll get into that discussion here in a little bit. Of course, the annual core certificate fee there, and the increase in the impact fee that the commission put in place earlier this fiscal year was put in place last year. Mr. Gully.
Miss Amy, in this adequate facilities tax, development tax, there's only been $96,000 from that this year. Am I seeing that?
I believe that is correct.
Is it up to date or is it behind?
I want to say that is up to date. Ms. Rosalie does deposit those funds on a regular basis.
That would seem to indicate construction may be slowing. All right, page 24, 131, highway fund. Of course, the only thing they get from us is the roughly little over 115,000 in property tax at 83.2% thus far for the fiscal year. Page 25, 141, school budget. Of course, we don't see the expenditures here, just the revenues. 49.4%, which is a little below where we'd like to be, and I guess this is something we need to reach out to probably to the director of schools to ask about. The TISA it's only at 42.0% at this point in the year. So well below where you would want them to be.
State funds, it could also be running a month or two behind.
Ms. Amy points out that could be running a little bit behind because it's state funding as well. And that's something I'll reach out to the director of schools and try to get an answer for next month. Are there any questions in the 141 school budget? All right, so seeing now, we'll go into budget amendments. We have four, looks like four on there that, this means so, 10111 insurance recovery, Sheriff's Department, where the Bronco was involved in the wreck. That was the one up here at the, in front of Daly's.
Surplus. That was a pretty good investment on that.
I would say so.
I wish I had more like it.
10112, this one is a fund balance draw, 33,210. It's like to cover increases in medical insurance line items. You'll see the premiums increased beginning in January. Page 28, 11804 EMS. This is a This is the internal transfer. This is where or, the EMS services billing clerk retired in December, and so EMS had solicited to contract out their billing. And so this is an internal transfer, $22,000 to fund that contract for the remainder of the year. Remainder of the fiscal year, I should say. Mr. Gully.
Do I read that the contract was signed at 5% of net collection plus $2,250 a month? Okay,
Averages about 250.
thank you, ma'am.
Appreciate that clarification. And then page 29, 14113 TISA. This is a revenue coming in for the school system, 202,801. It looks like they are putting it toward transportation, building maintenance, and capital outlays. Of course, we don't have anything saying exactly what those. Miss Amy, any insight in that regard? Mr. Ford?
Point. I just wanted to ask Amy, do we get anything else from Core Civic out there, like land taxes or sales tax or anything other than 300,000? We do get property tax? How much is it?
Mr. Ford, we're still in the budget amendments.
That's what you said. Sorry.
That's all right. What's the will of the committee on these budget amendments? Okay, motion to approve all of them by Atwood. Second by Gully. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, moving to discussion items other. Yes, now we can take up the CD rates that that we mentioned earlier in the 2 million from the 171. Of course, Mr. Dennis suggested laddering some of those and putting some in a 6 month, some in a 12, and some in a 24. What's the will of the body in with regard to setting any of those up, or do y'all want to hold off?
Mr. Chairman,
Yep. Mr. Dennis, you had,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir.
I do also agree with Mr. Gully, that we may need to weight it heavier on the backside right now. Just a thought, if we did a ladder, take 25% of it, that's $500,000. Put it on 6 months at 4%.
Okay.
25% of it, it's $500,000 on 12 months at 3.95. And then 50%, which would be the rest of the other million, on 24 months at 3.75. Then when the 6 month CD come to you, look at a year, because that's going to throw it in between your year and your 2 years. And you ladder that way and keep it moving at the best possible rate.
Do you want to put that in a motion with those amounts?
Before you do, what do we want to do with the interest at that time? Roll those back into those CDs. I think it'd be good to have that in this motion.
I also need the motion to include where you want the interest to go, either into 101 or 171, please.
Well, if these are 171 funds, I would think it would probably.
Motion, I'll second.
Well, no one's made a motion yet.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Dennis.
I make a motion that we put the $2 million based on the ladder that I just spoke on.
Okay.
and any interest that those CDs make go back into 171 capital outlays to be further used to purchase CDs as per will and pleasure of the commission.
Okay, that clear enough for you, Miss Amy? Okay, have a motion by Dennis and a second by Gully. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, I think the only other discussion item that comes to mind, of course, and we'll have this discussion further during the work session, I'm sure, but we'll, of course, we have the wheel tax proposal that we have discussed previously. You know, I had asked last month if there was any thought as to what this committee wanted to do, Mr. Gully.
Can we wait until we hear what we know from the mayor has stated on the
Sure.
jail before we move any conversation about this?
Sure, absolutely. All right, are there any other discussion items from anyone on the committee? Seeing none, I'll move into public comment. Any from the public have anything they want to address? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Atwood, Gully, we are adjourned.